Hello, my dear friends. For most of us who were born after the Holocaust, this past year has been the most difficult, challenging, painful, traumatic year of our lifetime. Beginning October 7th, which in a few days is going to be October 7th, it means it's almost a year. A year ago, on October 7th, there was so much evil unleashed. The brutal, savage murder of over 1,200 Jewish neshamos, innocent Jewish neshamos, the murder and the slaughter and the burning and the raping and the wounding of so many of our Jewish brothers and sisters, and the taking of hostages, and that's a situation that's still unresolved. There's still the hostages that we hope that they're still alive in captivity, and you can't even fathom the pain of the families thinking about the horrible conditions of their children, even children, infants, babies. Could you imagine? Babies, brothers, sisters, spouses, fathers and mothers. What an enormous pain and trauma for those. Every single second of the day, they can't stop thinking about their loved ones, hoping and hoping that maybe Mirza Hashem, they will be returned from captivity, but it's unresolved. And the amount of anti-Semitism that was unleashed on October 7th, instead of the Jewish people having the sympathy of the world, instead, unbelievable, it triggered the hatred of around the world. Of the United Nations, the majority of the countries in the United Nations vote always against the state of Israel, and the things that they have said, and the viciousness. And it's not only the United Nations, in the International Criminal Court, and in the United States, in the Congress, and in the college campuses, and the demonstrations of anti-Semites against the state of Israel and against the Jewish people. It's just unfathomable, and it doesn't stop. It's like the hatred is just, venom is just like flowing, like cockroaches coming out of the woodwork, and it's still ongoing. So what is it that we're supposed to be thinking about this year on Rosh Hashanah? People say that this election will be the most consequential election of our lifetimes. And while that is true, and it's certainly important to be politically active as much as we can, and to go out and vote, but more consequential than the election will be the way we daven on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Because the reason why the Jewish people have survived the Golus, and unfortunately the tragedies in the Golus have been so many and relentless, and with the Holocaust and pogroms and the Crusades and all the other horrific events of the last 2,000 years. How did the Jewish people survive so much tragedy and suffering? It's because of our relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And it's been through our tefillos that we have entree. We're able to talk to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. We go straight to the top. We go right into the king's palace, and we don't have to wait for an audience. We could talk directly to the Ribono Shel Olam. So our tefillos on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they will be the most consequential tefillos of our lifetime. And every year when we daven on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we always think about our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael. But there's a big difference between other years and this year, and that is that other years, what is primary in our minds? The primary should have always been Klal Yisrael, but I think for most of us, primary was we're thinking about ourselves, we're thinking about our families, we're thinking about our communities. Also, we're thinking about Klal Yisrael. This year has to be just the opposite. Primary has to be Klal Yisrael. It has to be, first of all, our brothers and sisters in the state of Israel, and then Klal Yisrael around the world. That's primary. That's what we should be thinking about. We could of course we have to daven for ourselves and for our families, but that should be secondary. We should attach that to our tefillos for Klal Yisrael. We should be as part of Klal. That's why we're davening for ourselves as part of Klal Yisrael. And the Gemara says that the most powerful tefillos are when we daven tefillah b'tzibur. If you daven as an individual, it doesn't compare to when you daven with a tzibur. And the bigger the tzibur, Barov Hadris Melech, the bigger the tzibur, the more powerful the tefillah. And the tefillah of this year. We're united not only with if you're davening in Or Torahs, and not only be united with 800 people in Or Torah, whichever shul you're davening at, you're united with that congregation. But we're united. We're united as well with all of Klal Yisrael this year, because we all are united in feeling the pain and the suffering of the Jewish people around the world. So the minyan that we're diving at is a minyan of Klal Yisrael, and we're standing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Avinu Malkeinu. He is our king, but he's also our father. And we pour out our hearts to the Ribono Shel Olam, and we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu as our father that he should have compassion on Klal Yisrael. How exactly do we relate the davening to Klal Yisrael? It's simple as pie. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. All you have to do is you open the siddur. Every single thing that we say in davening is easy to relate to Klal Yisrael. Zochreinu l'chaim, Melech Havetz Chaim. We ask Kadosh Baruch Hu, remember us for life. Remember the hostages for life. Remember the members of Tzahal for life. There's now a ground invasion that's taking place in Lebanon. We witnessed Nisim the last 2 weeks in Lebanon. Unbelievable Nisim, what was accomplished in 2 weeks against the Hezbollah. A transformation. But it's still ongoing. So when we say Zochreinu l'chaim, we're thinking about the hostages, and we're thinking about the soldiers in Sahel, and we're thinking about the Jewish population in the state of Israel, and we're thinking about Klal Yisrael around the world. Zochreinu l'chaim, Melech Havetz Chaim. Every single part of the davening, and we say when we say in the Sana Tokef, mi va'esh, mi v'mayim, who in fire and who in water, mi yichya, mi yoma, who will live and who will die. It's all that is it's all current. It's all talking about the situations that we find ourselves in. We don't have to work hard to be able to relate that. Avinu Malkeinu, we say Avinu Malkeinu, is all the different phrases of Avinu Malkeinu, God our King, over and over again. We beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if we'll daven with tremendous kavanah, that will be the most consequential. And our kavanah should be focused on what's taking place in Eretz Yisrael. One thing in particular that occurred to me is that the shofar. There's many reasons why we blow the shofar. Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon says there's 10 reasons. One of the reasons is because the shofar will ultimately be blown when Mashiach comes, and there'll be kibbutz goliath. There'll be a return of the Jewish people to Eretz Yisrael. The Mashiach will blow the shofar. There'll be a clarion call of the shofar. And we speak about it in the davening. It's a pasuk in Yeshaya. V'haya b'yom hahu yitaka b'shofar gadol. On that day, there will be a great shofar, a great blast from the shofar. The Jews from around the world will return. They will bow down on the holy mountain of Yerushalayim. When we hear the shofar this year, what we have to hear is in the shofar, we have to hear the shofars calling to the hostages that they should be able to return as soon as possible, the very same day, immediately. We should hear the Yitaka b'shofar gadol. We should hear the V'sanei Kabbalas Yosenu. In the very next paragraph, we say Tikab b'shofar gadol, blow a great shofar for our freedom. V'sanei Kabbalas Yosenu, and bring us back from Gaul. We should be returned from all the places around the world all the tunnels where we're hidden. We should hear that in the shofar. The shofar is calling out to the Ribono Shel Olam, bring the hostages back home, bring them back to their families, release the hostages, save the hostages from their captivity. And the shofar has 2 sounds in the shofar, or 3 sounds. There's the tekiah, which is the long, straight, unbroken sound, and then there's which is the beginning and the end. And then in the middle, there's the shvarim and the trua. The Gemara says shvarim and trua are both sounds of crying. Why do you have 2 different sounds? Because sometimes people cry short blasts, and sometimes people cry longer sighs. The difference, I think, is that when the tragedy hits, so then it's trua. Those are the short blasts. the broken beats, because when the person's overcome and overwhelmed and he can't control himself, he just cries over and over and over again, can't stop crying. But then as time goes on and the tragedy becomes part of a person's reality, so then even though the person knows that this is the situation, but he can't forget about the pain. And that's when he has the shvarm. The word shvarm means broken. The person's broken. His soul is broken. His neshama is broken. And he feels the enormity of the pain. But those cries are not the quick beats of blasts of Shua, but those are the elongated cries of the shvarm. I was in Eretz Yisrael this year twice. I went to Har Herzl. And in Har Herzl, that's where the soldiers that lost their lives in Israel are buried. And there were people on Har Herzl who were there for the levias of their children or their spouses or their parents. People that day they were burying them, and we saw the levias taking place. That was the trua, when the people were crying, the trua, the unbroken, the unstoppable tears and cries that were emanating from their hearts. But then there were also people there who the grave was already covered, and they came back a week later or a month later to cry at the grave of their dear one. And those cries were the cries of the shvarm, the broken hearts that we witnessed. We watched them cry bitter tears, the sighs, like the shvarm, the elongated sighs of pain and sorrow that emanated from them. So when we hear the shvarm trua, we should be thinking, Ribbono Shel Olam, this is the crying of Klal Yisrael, the shvarim and the trua. This is your children. Look how much pain and suffering they've endured. Look how much pain they're in. They're still crying. The truos have been transformed to shvarim, and they're still crying. They're still broken, and everybody, the pain is enormous, and the trauma is unbelievable. And so the shofar blasts, they start with the tkiya, but they also end with the tkiya, which means to say that they before the tragedy is a tkiya, it's straight, it's natural. Then it's broken by the terrible cry, sharp blasts of the shvarm and the trua, but then it returns to the tkiya. Why is that? Because ultimately there will be the Ribbono Shel Olam will redeem Klal Yisrael, and it's V'haya bayom ha'hu yitaka b'shofar gadol. On that day when Mashiach brings us back to Eretz Yisrael, and there's kibbutz golios, he brings back from around the world. V'sonei sekavos kol Yosenu. He is going to bring back all of Klal Yisrael from around the world. There'll be a shofar gadol. There'll be the blast of the tkiya that will signify the return of all of Klal Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael. And even if there will not be Mashiach on Rosh Hashana, and it won't take place as we hope it will, but even if it won't be, but we could still hope for that it should be the shofar gadol that brings back the hostages from where they are in captivities, and it's the shofar gadol that leads to the tkiya, and the final tkiya is the tkiya gedola. That's the ultimate tkiya of coming a Mashiach. It will be the tkiya that doesn't end. It'll continue on and on and on. But even if the tkiya is shorter, but we're asking Ribbono Shel Olam, transform the shvarim trua into a tkiya, and it should be Yitaka b'shofar gadol, bring back the hostages to Eretz, release them from captivity, bring them back to Eretz Yisrael, and protect the members of Tzahal, and protect the state of Israel, and silence the voice of those people who want the destruction of the state of Israel, the Jewish people. In the davening, in the Shemona Esrei, we say, "U'v'chein tzadikim yiru v'yismachu." The tzadikim will be joyous; they'll be happy. The chasidim b'rina yagiu, and the chasidim will celebrate in song. When will that be? V'olasa tikbetz piyah. The iniquity will close its voice. The mouth of those who are evil will be shut closed. And all the evil will go up in smoke. When all the evil empires will be destroyed from the world. There's so many evil empires around the world. We're davening for them, that they should be they should go up and the voice of hatred, the spewing of evil and hatred and animosity and hostility against the Jewish people. It's v'olasa tikvat spia. The mouth should be closed. Let us hope that in Mirz Hashem, our tefillos this year, these are, our tefillos are the most consequential. Let us hope in Mirz Hashem, the Ribono Shel Olam will be listening to our tefillos. He's the Avarachimim, and he's our Father, and he should be listening to us as one united tzibur. And that's up to us really to determine what, are we davening by ourselves or are we davening with Klal Yisrael? The Ribono Shel Olam should hear the tefillos of Klal Yisrael collectively, all of us together, pleading with him, begging him, asking the Ribono Shel Olam that he should reverse the situation that has taken place this past year. That it should be, this coming year should be a year not of shvarim, true, a broken year of pain and sobbing and crying, but it should be a year of tranquility, the Tekiah. And it should be ultimately the Tekiah Gedola, the Tekiah that's unbroken, that continues on and on. In Mirz Hashem, it should be a year of Yeshuos for Klal Yisrael. I wish everybody a ksiva, v'chasima tova for yourselves, for your family, and for all of Klal Yisrael.